Hey everybody, it's Jason Cruz here with MMA Payouts, the interview up here in Seattle, Washington. Today we are talking to Steve Mowry as he gets ready for Bellator 290 in the fabulous forum of Inglewood, California. First question, Steve, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Jason?
I'm doing great, thank you. The Bellator fighters today on the interview have been very courteous and polite. Thank you very much. I am doing good. So
Thanks. I
let's
like your hat. I like that you're repping it out.
yeah, the
The
upside
LA
down
hat.
LA.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
yes.
love it. That's
In
awesome.
honor of Inglewood, California. So, Steve, I'm going to ask you a question that you probably are sick of, but have you ever played basketball?
No, sir. Actually, I had a. It was called a basketball weight training class in college. So we played. It was. I don't even really remember the name of it, but it was a full court game that every team had five players, and you would change it up like I don't know. It was weird, but that was really my only foray into
A
organized
basketball weight
basketball.
training class? I'm sorry,
Mhm.
basketball.
Yep, it was a like a PE class, kind of like recontextualized. The basketball coach, of course, ran it. It was a community college I went to for a year back in the
I
day.
I see, I see. So let me ask you then, how did you get into MMA? You are an imposing figure at 6'8". I assumed watching your fights you take advantage of your height, but how did you get into a mixed martial arts?
I read about it in a magazine when I was like 16 or 17, and I hadn't come from an athletic background. I didn't really do anything athletic or with my body at all before that, but just something about it. I read about it in this magazine. I started watching fights, and it just made me. I just wanted to do it.
Awesome. So where did you go to first train? Was it a boxing class? Was it a jujitsu class? Wrestling? What discipline did you first train in?
It was a jiu-jitsu class. So there was like a gym, it wasn't even really Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It was Japanese jiu-jitsu, and the guy who ran it was not really like a belted jiu-jitsu instructor. He was a taekwondo guy. It just kind of like he had these like sheets of paper that like described the moves, and we had to kind of like read the paper and like figure out how to do it. And then I went right from that to wrestling my junior year. So that was kind of like my introduction.
And so when you first your first step foot into the wrestling room, how did the wrestling coaches take you as a student, or I guess a trainee? Were they excited about your height? Were they
Yeah, they
confused?
were like they're like basketball's the gymnasium, dude. um, no, they my older brother wrestled off and on for a few years. So I mean, they knew probably vaguely about me, and then whenever I joined the team, they probably had some idea of what they were getting into whenever they had my brother, who's not as tall as I was, but he's still a big guy. And then we just like let it run from there, kind of thing.
Awesome, awesome. Now, when you got into mixed martial arts, what was the most challenging discipline that you felt was a little harder to grasp than the others?
I don't know if probably the short answer would be striking, but it was just because um, it took me such a long time to find a coach I was comfortable with, and to really start teaching me like the proper principles and like the real fundamentals of striking. And I feel like yeah, I've been really blessed to find coaches who've been able to help me kind of figure it out and retool it. But from the time that I was 17, really until I was in like my early 20s, I didn't really have like one solid, consistent coach. And then I met my first coach back home, Ryan Covert, who kind of like really kind of grabbed me by the hand and helped me start putting it together.
Awesome. So where did you train for this training camp for this fight?
As always, I'm down here in South Florida at the somewhat newly renamed Killcliff FC.
The Kill Cliff.
Um,
Yes.
yes, sir. So I've been back here with my team as always. I've been living in South Florida for it was about 7.5 years now. I've done every professional camp with them, and I don't know if I ever see myself going anywhere else.
Nice, nice. And now who did you train with for this fight?
Just the usual suspects. I have Leighton Vassell's been like my main guy for the last I mean, really, ever since I moved here, Victor Pesta's been a pretty consistent guy. I've had we have Emiliano Sordi, who was PFL champion a couple years ago, and then a couple guys kind of fly under the radar. Two of my former opponents, actually, Gokhan Seracham and Darian Abbey, were both around. So yeah, I mean, we've all been kind of slanging, banging on each other, sharpening the steel, helping us all get ready for our. Oh, we all have fights coming up soon, so it's been really nice to have all of us kind of like you know in the pot together cooking.
Now, how does it play out with a guy that you've already fought in Bellator? Is there any animosity, or is he just treated like, this is a job? So there's after the fight was over, there's no hard feelings.
I don't know. I'd imagine case by case it's a little bit different, but Darian and Gokhan both are you know absolute professionals, consummate athletes, stellar training partners, stellar athletes, very good fighters themselves, and you know, fucking we've all even though I have wins over both of them, they've definitely got their money's worth out of me too. So it's been great, man. I've never felt more confident headed into a fight.
Nice. Now, obviously, you put your height to its has its advantages. Is there anything that your coaches want you to be aware of due to your height? Excuse me, due to your height, just because of either you have longer limbs, or be careful of when you get into fights.
Yeah, they're like use it more. They're really. I feel like whenever I first started working with Henry in particular, he felt like I didn't properly utilize my God given gift of being 6'8", and that was one thing that he really had taken the task for the last 5 or so years, was really taking my body type and maximizing my natural attributes to the best of my ability.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your upcoming opponent, Ali Isaev. He's from Dagestan, so I'm gonna guess he's a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about your height, 6'3", 260, and 265. What are your expectations on this fight? Have you scouted him a little bit?
I trained with him actually
Oh,
before he won the PFL tournament. He came down and did I don't remember exactly how long, but it could have been more than maybe a month or two. But he came down for, I want to say maybe 5 weeks or so before the PFL tournament. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, he's a stellar wrestler. I think he's really made the most of his competitive lifespan by getting into the sport, doing as well as he does. Um, he's a skilled fighter and great guy, but I'm really looking forward to stepping into the cage and working my thing.
now I assume since you have a wrestling background and he's a wrestler, this will be a fist fight.
Um,
No, I
I'm gonna. I mean, you never really know. But that said, I'm looking forward to walking in there and putting on a very clinical, in his face kind of style fight.
Yeah, nice. Well, 2022 wasn't the best of years. Your only fight, it was over before it even began. To be honest with you, how is everything with the eye? How soon did you get back into training after that unfortunate eye poke in August?
I took. I didn't get back to like training for about 2 weeks. I mean, the eye was healed, like the pain had subsided by like that Monday, and then it was healed by like the middle of the week. It was just like one of those things where when it had happened in the fight, it had kind of compromised my ability to perform and to see, and it was like you said, just unfortunate. So I mean, not a major setback really at all, but just the way it played out was unfortunate.
Yeah. But you're back in the cage in a couple weeks. What are your plans for 2023? How many fights would you like to take on?
I'll just take it one fight at a time. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity against Ali Isaev. Looking forward to going in there and getting back to the nastiness, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Excellent, excellent. Now, will you be able to do any touristy things when you get to Los Angeles, or are you going to just on Sunday morning be on the flight back to South Florida?
More than likely, I'll be back on the plane to sunny South Florida.
I got you. I got you. Well, February 4th, big card for Bellator at the Fabulous Forum, Inglewood, California. Steve Mowry, you have a big fight against Ali Isaev. Big heavyweights banging. We look forward to watching you on February 4th.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yep. Thank you very much, and good luck, safe travels, and we'll be watching.
Absolutely. Thanks, my man.
Okay. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Later.